You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butonoff, coming to you live from our home here at Radio Park in Racine.
Radio Studio Park.
Yes, we're in a studio in the park here in Racine where you can...
With radios.
Oh, yes, where you can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up on the show, our friend, colleague, travel companion, Todd Alda will be here after the 9:30 news. Lots of things to kick around with Todd, including, we're just going to call him the government of inefficiencies.
Oh, okay.
Forget about GOAT.
No, Doge.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doge.
Yeah. We're going to talk about just smooth sailing with the federal government, firing people, and then, oops, oh my God, we need those people.
Them firings and rehirings.
Yeah, we better get those people back. So we're going to talk about that with Todd. In hour number 2, Will Westmoreland is going to join us, hopefully. Will is a farmer in southwestern Missouri, and he has joined us numerous times on the show in the past, and obviously the tariffs are a big thing. Donald Trump, of course, announcing, was it yesterday, day before? No, maybe it was Friday. 100% tariffs now on China, kicking in on November 1st.
You know, I can't keep up. And luckily, there is a website. There's a couple of them on that allow you to see all of the tariffs that have been, and this is the term they use on their website, threatened, the ones that are implemented, the ones that are cyclical. So I will put that in the show notes. So because it is very confusing because I don't know how many tariffs he has proposed on just China alone, at what percentages. And the overall question I have is, how does a man who worships Xi Jinping then impose such devastating tariffs on that country and also saying terrible things about it's such a weird relationship with that country. I don't understand it at all.
Well, he insults them one day, and then what? And then after he put in about the 100% tariffs on China kicking in on November 1st, then a couple days later, he put on his social media that China is fine. Everything is fine. It was just a misstep, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tariffs on, tariffs off. It's like it's a new version of Karate Kid.
Well, and then anytime, even the problem is that the government keeps beating me up and I can't defend myself.
Where are they going? We don't know.
But my car is so shiny.
Also, in hour number 2, we will lighten it up as we always do after the 10:30 news with a little audio sorbet, where we get away from the news, talk about lighter things, so we can take a breath. I found this video on social media. I think she's Gen Z. Talking about
is the this. By the way, this is audio gripe too.
It's on the border of
Oh
gripe.
no, it is south.
I'll tell you something,
It
boy.
is south of gripe, putting down a deck chair in the sand and sunning it up and getting pruned by the bitterness.
Should adults get their birthdays off from work? That is the question for audio sorbet. Should adults get off of work on their birthday? You can weigh in on this now if you like, if you're not going to be able to be here after the 10:30 news. 855-752-4842. That is our audio sorbet topic. And then we'll wrap up the show as we always do with this Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the Mush Push edition.
Ew.
Yeah.
What?
Yes,
No.
exactly. Yeah. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that tasty piece.
Oh, God.
Coming up at the very end of the show.
Why am I here?
We do have baseball coming up tonight. We're just going to pretend.
No, we're not. No, Jane. No, honestly, no, we're not. We are going.
It wasn't a rout.
That's the thing is. We're not going to pretend. We're not going to act like it didn't happen. It happened. They lost the first game, and they didn't get
smoked.
They didn't get smoked.
Nope.
They came back in the 9th inning to make it even closer. But they lost game 1. That's fine. There are 6 more games, and we're going to keep playing, and we're going to keep going. And regardless of what happens, this team has done amazingly. Sorry, Chicago fans.
Get over it.
But that's what I have to keep telling myself as a Brewers fan, is that a team that was really counted out in March has made it here.
Yep.
And that just means extra special things for what lies ahead for the rest of this season as well as next season.
So Brewers hosting the Dodgers for Game 2 tonight. Our broadcast will start at 6:30. You can't listen on the stream. You can listen on terrestrial radio, so you can catch it tonight starting at 6:30. Our broadcast begins. First pitch goes out about 7:08. On WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WBZH in beautiful Hayward, WCQM in Park Falls, and here in Racine, Kenosha, WRJN. Go Crew hosting the Dodgers tonight. Our broadcast will start at 6:30. And the first pitch going out at 7:08. Wanted to start off with this a little bit. We were talking yesterday at the top of the show about data centers and some data centers getting rejected in Wisconsin because talking about the amount of water they use, the amount of electricity that they use. And then this popped up from Wisconsin Public Radio. Joe Schultz has the byline. Several solar projects across Wisconsin are now facing community opposition. Town officials in northeastern and central Wisconsin communities coming out against 2 utility-scale solar projects suggested for their areas. They have delayed a vote on a small solar project in at least one city after an hours-long public hearing last month. This debate, as a bill in the legislature, would require that local governments sign off on major solar or wind projects in their communities. Right now, they just need the approval from the Public Service Commission.
Yes, and the Public Service Commission is a state-run government
It's
group.
a state agency.
It's not. At first, I thought when it just said Public Service Commission, I was assuming that was a commission that fell under the purview of the local town board or city councils, but it's not. The Public Service Commission of Wisconsin, which I put their link into the show notes so you can find out more, is a state-run department. And I gotta say, I was really surprised by this because yesterday's conversation was about Caledonia's people standing up and saying no and it not happening. Then we talked about Port Washington kind of coming into the game a little too late.
A little late.
And it's happening. The through line is always about raising your voice to those who represent, and I mean raising your concerns and voicing your opinions, not raising your voice. Sorry, poor choice of words, but voicing your opinions. And we saw 2 examples of that working. In this one, though, this is very interesting because essentially these communities have zero say in what happens. The Public Service Commission overrides it all, and it's just done. I mean, this story goes back a little ways because the people were upset about the sale of farmland just happening all of a sudden.
Yep.
And they said, no, we don't want this here. And they had concerns. Whether they are valid, it's not important at this point. It's about the fact that they said their heart, but yet I guess it meant nothing.
Yeah, Morgantown Board Chair Lori Whiddon and Rome Town Board Chair Carl Hostel both submitted written comments to the Public Service Commission opposing the projects. The town of Rome filed documents in one case before the Public Service Commission. The town of Morgan says it will do the same. Hasdall, again, the Rome Town Board Chair Carl Hasdall, says we've been locked out on the whole thing. We don't have any say in the matter, and that's just not right. And I agree with him.
Completely agree. I completely
These communities
agree.
should be able to at least, they live there.
Mm-hmm. It's the land that belongs to the community being used for. I mean, look, not against solar panels, not against these projects, if they're done responsibly and they don't heap a whole bunch of problems onto the folks who live there. As we were talking about with regard to the data centers, is that they want to work out deals where they can slow down your power and increase the power to the data center. They want to take water. They want to do things that benefit them and impact the people, and I don't agree with that. This right here is just like, well, thank you for your adorable opinions. We'll put those in a file somewhere,
And we're going to do it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Again, Senator Patrick Teston of Stevens Point and Scott Krug of Rome are circulating a bill that would set up a system for regulating community solar programs that would then require local approval of the projects.
As it should have been in the beginning.
That doesn't seem like a stretch to me.
And
It really doesn't.
I've attached the bill to the show notes for today so people can take a look. And I've attached both a story about it as well as the bill itself, because the bill itself, when you look at it, really is very simple. It's not a lot.
There's not lots of hidden gems in there.
I don't see authorizations to make a fourth boat untaxable. I don't see rich kids get to go to school for free and take our lunch monies. It's a really simple bill. It defines what these projects are. I don't know if this is happening because of the fact that these are energy efficient projects that they're going for this legislation. I hope not. I don't want to be cynical about it, but good on the two representatives from Madison or who work in Madison who are trying to at least allow the people to amplify their voices.
Oconto County Board Supervisor Dave Barron says that this company, Next Era Energy, hasn't done enough to talk to the community and to get feedback. He said they've held community meetings, but it feels like they've done so just to check it off.
Yeah.
He said residents are opposed to the solar project because they're worried about lost farmland, concerns about the reliability of solar, and worries that batteries could catch fire. I don't know that happens a lot. I will have to look into that further.
Well, and those are the types of concerns that those are valid in what you just may think happens. That's why you have a listening session, a real listening session, a series of them where you talk to the people, you make yourself available to those.
And you explain you respond to their concerns, right?
Of the three, the second and third seem very, it seems like something you can have a good conversation about and ease people's minds, especially on the batteries. The lost farmland, yeah, that's a big concern, but I'm going to be honest and I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off here. That farmland, if it's not being used now, it's probably not going to be used in 20, 30 years. It's going to eventually be either turned into a solar farm, a warehouse, or a parking lot. And that's the bigger conversation of it all. But I do understand their concern about losing farmland, but if it's not being utilized, then that contributes to communities not being viable.
Jenny on the live stream asked an interesting question. Why does this bill only have this requirement for wind and solar projects? That's a very good question, Jenny. It is.
Absolutely. And that is...
are communities allowed to weigh in on CAFOs? These concentrated animal feeding organizations? Do we have the same kind of we're going to hear pushback about those?
I assume not. And that is where I'm like really fighting the cynicism here, Jane, because it is not only a very brief bill, but it only encapsulates the alternative energy.
Yeah.
It's not
the green. It's the green.
It's about the green and knowing that these communities will probably push back. I got cynical.
Troy from Mount Horeb, we see you waiting there. We will take you first when we return. Talking about solar in Wisconsin. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us. Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are talking about solar in Wisconsin, an article in WPR talking about a couple of solar projects in the state that the communities don't want. And essentially, the Public Service Commission Yes, they get to decide whether you get it or whether you're having it or not.
Yeah. At the very least, they have concerns that have not been answered with
Satisfactorily.
satisfaction. Yeah.
855-752-4842. Troy from Mount Horeb has been waiting very patiently. Good morning, Troy. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you both. Yeah, there are a lot of pies to balance in this thing. Another one that we haven't talked about yet is the farm owner who doesn't want to farm his land anymore and wants that check.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if the locality says, well, you can't do that, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Troy, at all, and I think that's an important conversation. And really quick over the break, I did look it up. The solar panel battery question is not a prevalent thing that happens a lot, but it's still a concern, that needs to be addressed.
But that's not battery fires are not a widespread problem with solar, as far as I know.
But Troy, you're absolutely right. This just proves that the whole process has way more nuance and needs more discussion
Public
about
input?
it. Exactly. And now, Jenny, by the way, thank you for the question earlier. And you ask the greatest questions. I love them. It is, but it's just pushed me into like the cynical thing of like, yes, why is the language so pointed? Because it could really harm possible solar projects as well, or wind projects, because you have this thing where if the community can come up and say no, then are they dead? Or you have a municipality board that's saying no, thank you to anything. I don't know.
Thanks, Troy. Appreciate you checking in on
the
this.
whole thing needs to be more community-minded as far as all the conversations.
But it is interesting that this measure that the Republicans are circulating only addresses solar and wind, not coal, not mining, not other concerns,
not PFAS, CAFOs.
No, none of that.
No.
Just solar and wind. 855-752-4842. Jack from Merrimack is on the line. Good morning, Jack. What do you think about this?
Well, first of all, yes, I do think it is important that the local community has a stake in this. It has some say in it. However, there was a solar project. I have a brother-in-law that lives in upstate New York, and there was a solar project that was proposed for that area, and all of a sudden there was this supposedly groundswell of objections, and people just worried about environmental damage and losing our farmland. Now, frankly, in that area, the land is really quite rocky and very much hilly, and it's not much really
good for farming. Yeah.
Farmland. But what eventually we found out happened was, of course, there were millions put into a negative campaign. Guess where they came from?
Miners.
Fossil fuel.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
So now here, this is what I want to say though. Those people that say we've got to have American energy for Americans, and let's drill and produce all our own oil. Well, we're producing enough oil now to export. Actually, we're producing more than we actually use, but the price is manipulable. International markets determine some of it, and wonderful people like Ben Salman and Putin have pretty good solid controls over their resources, and they control some of that too.
Appreciate it, Jack. We're coming up against the clock here. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is interesting how all of a sudden there's all of this opposition to this, and when you follow the money, because that is usually what it's about.
Yeah.
Who is funding this opposition?
And when you have man, I always wanted to talk about the power of the people, and now I'm just like, man, here we go again, talking about the fact that we have leaders who just will do anything they can to stop, like, alternative energy is in no way, shape, or form in a place now or for a while going to destroy the oil industry. So this all-out war on anything solar or wind is just so ridiculous. Just You can have solar panels. You can
We
drill
can have
for,
all the things.
We can have oil.
We can have all the things.
If it's safe, and I believe we talked to Mr. Global about this as far as nuclear energy, there are new things in place where nuclear is safer than it used to be. Then if that's the case, we can do that as well. Let's have it all for right now and then take down our dependency over maybe, say, the next 100 years if we're here.
And we're going to reach out to Mr. Global. He hasn't been on for a while, Matt Randolph. But I found an article, too. Donald Trump promised the coal producers it was, big, beautiful, clean coal. Clean coal, clean coal. Well, the coal producers, the owners of these mines, all the tax cuts they got, they pocketed.
Yeah.
I just read another article about black lung disease.
And there's no
for miners in Virginia and those areas that still mine coal.
Was that story from 1935?
No, this was from yesterday.
And also as an aside, just to anyone listening, clean coal is not a thing.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
That's not a thing. It's a nice polished, put it through a focus group phrase. Clean coal does not exist.
We have news coming up next, and then when we return, our friend, colleague, and travel companion, Todd Alba, will be here, so stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air, coming to you across the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up in Vienna. What? On the Civic Media Radio Network.
Amazing.
We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Sweet Cal B on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. He is our friend and colleague, and he joins us every other Tuesday.
Yes.
At this time. Todd Alba of the duly named Todd Alba Show from 2 to 4 across the network. How are you this morning, my friend?
Jane, Greg, Kelvin, I'm absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful day, a little cloudy here, but hey, you know what? The Brewers played their hearts out last night. I got a good feeling about tonight. Great day.
We agree with you. Yes, it's going to be a good game tonight. By the way, Brewers hosting the Dodgers. Our broadcast will start at 6:30. The first pitch goes out at 7:08. You can catch the game on terrestrial radio on several Civic Media stations, including right here in Racine and Kenosha on WRJN. Again, Brewers versus the Dodgers. Our broadcast will start tonight at 6:30. I did want to start, Todd, with some breaking news as we come back on the air this morning. I was on with you yesterday and we were talking about the unending stream of news that makes it really hard to keep up with everything. But the Supreme Court will not review the $1.4 billion judgment against Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist who tormented the parents of the Sandy Hook Elementary School kids for years. A Connecticut jury in 2022 ordered Jones to pay that $1.4 million to members of the family of the Sandy Hook victims and an FBI agent after a judge found Jones defamed and greatly harmed them. So this is good news. I would like to see them start seizing his assets now. This has been going on for years.
As my former boss, Dale Schultz, was fond of saying, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Seriously.
Hopefully the guy is bankrupt. He caused a lot of harm, has said just absolutely terrible things. And, I don't think there's no left or right to Alex Jones. He's just cuckoo barrels, and much of what he built up was not even based on, but just outright lies. And I hope that, those families nothing will replace the children that they lost, nothing. But I hope that these monies could go to support them in some way. Maybe they have other children, have scholarships if they want to go to school or trade school or whatever. And I think some of the families have talked about using that money to set up a foundation, whether it's to educate folks on gun violence and gun safety and this sort of thing as well. So good on the Supreme Court. Hey, you know what? Even with that 6-3 majority on the conservative side, once in a while they get something right.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And let's not forget that the Trump administration, one of the top lawyers who is buddies with Alex Jones, tried to intimidate this FBI agent who testified in this case. They threatened to go after him. They threatened to go after this FBI agent and ultimately dropped it because the outcry was so big about why is the Trump administration getting involved in something like this?
Why not?
That seems not good.
That's on
I
brand.
think it's obviously, the president is the ultimate case, but I think Alex Jones might be the next closest case to. They just simply believe they're completely above the law, and it doesn't apply to them, and they're going to get off the hook. So, yeah, I mean, I've been giving a lot of credit where credit's due, whether it was, whatever Donald Trump's involvement was, if anything, in the Middle East. I said, look, those families that have loved ones that were waiting for, they didn't care how it happened.
Right.
I think the optics of everything yesterday was pretty suspect and bad, but I will give the president and his team credit if he did, and it looked like he did, have a role in doing that. And I give the Supreme Court credit here for doing the right thing and rejecting taking this case.
Yeah, but again, I want to see what happens after this. I want to see his holdings liquidated because this has been going on for more than 20 years. It's enough.
Yeah.
And
we could use an LED wall at Civic Media. I mean, we could buy that for nickels on the dollar, and use that to spread good news.
Ooh, you're giving me some ideas.
Wouldn't that spice up the background behind Janers and the dark
right?
wall? A beautiful LED wall instead of
That
saying
says
InfoWars on it, says Matt and Air. Take bullets and turn them into peace.
Trying to think of like Matt and Air Wars, Jane Wars, Matt and Info Wars. No, none of it works.
It's not working.
No,
It's not working.
I just wish the Onion would have been able to buy them. That would have been the absolute amazing,
sweet.
most American thing that could have happened.
But just giving you a heads up, look for a very tearful broadcast from Alex Jones talking about I'm going to lose everything.
He's been saying, honestly, if you
send me money.
If you watched the thing he did, that John Oliver did on him years ago, he said that on every show, we can't keep this operation funded unless we hear from you.
You got to give me money. You got to give me money.
Okay, Alex, sure, whatever, that's fine. Take your Medal of Freedom and go to Florida and go hang out. I don't know. It's just this is getting.
Did he get the Medal of Freedom too?
Yeah, they handed it to him during he was sitting in the gallery during the State of the Union in Trump's first presidency, and he literally said, "I'm giving it to Alex Jones." And
did he throw it to him?
Alex Jones was like, "What? No one told me." It was hilarious, and that was the first one where he said, "Oh, this medal doesn't mean as much as it used to anymore." I mean, it still means something for a lot of people, but when we're just throwing it at commentators and pundits and people who posthumously now, which Charlie Kirk, which we're not going to get into that, but it's just like that's a big deal. I think it's the highest award a civilian can get given.
Civilian.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll see what the next steps will be.
Yeah.
Send me money.
So there's that.
There's that. A little piece of good news. A little piece of good news. I wanted to start off with this with you, Todd. On Friday, Trump administration fired a whole bunch of people at the Centers for Disease Control. Now, a couple days later, they're walking it back. NBC reporting on Saturday saying she had gotten a call from an official from Health and Human Services 5 minutes before going on the air that the cuts had been rescinded. Oops, we didn't mean to do that. Oops. Oops.
Well, who is it that sings as Britney Spears? Oops, I did it again.
Again?
That song?
Come on, Todd, don't act like you didn't know that song already, please.
How many times has this administration come in and fire a whole bunch of people only to come back 2 days later and go, oh my God, the guy we fired has all the codes to everything. No one can get into their computers. Who knew?
Yeah.
This is the least competent. This is the least competent administration in history.
I wouldn't argue with that. Here's why. I mean, I look at this think if you're a federal worker. And as you guys all know, and maybe some of your listeners do or don't know, many of the people they're civil servants It used to be that you could not ask about people's political affiliation for these jobs.
Right.
And you were protected, whatever administration was in there, that you knew because the idea was, hey, let's have consistency in our institutions, like, the Social Security Administration or the health or whatever it is, the Defense Department. And now, especially the second Trump administration, that has all changed. And to your point, Jane, I think of people that once you get laid off, you're gonna wait around for Trump to chicken out again to say, well, I'll just chill for a couple of months. I really don't, because look, I mean, a lot of federal workers, just like a lot of the rest of us, are living paycheck to paycheck. So a lot of these folks already have moved on.
Right.
So then now you have to fill these positions. They're not trained yet. And little by little, it's not just the tragedy of people's individual lives, which is sad enough, but it is endangering, in my opinion, all of us, whether it's defense, whether it's health, whether it's food safety, because you're bringing people in that are under or unqualified or untrained to replace people that have been there 10, 15, 20 years.
It's called institutional knowledge. A lot of these federal workers who have been in these jobs for 10, 15, 20 years, they know the inner workings. They know how to get things done. They know the processes. And this was all in Project 2025, that they were going to come in and blow out all the people who have been there and replace them with loyalists. Not based on their competency, not based on their ability to do their job, but based on their loyalty to Donald Trump. So now we are filling our government with a whole bunch of our least qualified cousins.
Well, and also the other thing, too, is when you look at the whole situation, it's either you're filling them with loyalists or you're not filling them at all, and then you're putting the extra burden on these workers who are actually there, saying, well, now you have to do the jobs of employee A and B because employee C is still here, but you're not going to get a pay bump. You're not going to get a title bump. You're just going to have to work, and that's all yours. Because if you love Donald Trump, you'll do the work and you'll do it right to our standard. The other point is when you fire someone, that costs money. When you rehire just anyone, that costs money. When you rehire the same person back, that costs money.
Yes.
So this whole endeavor from Doge to today has cost this country so much money, from the firing and to the rehiring and to all the other things we've spent money on. It is the least fiscally responsible thing I've ever seen in my adult life. And for people to say Doge did it, tell me what they did besides waste a bunch of money.
Well, even there have been reports now. The New York Times came out with a big report about Doge, which was an enormous failure and essentially did nothing but add to the deficit.
And enriched Elon Musk,
Yes.
and he got to walk away from the whole thing unscathed. He has disappeared back into the private sector, and there has been no investigation. There never will be. And there's been no follow-up. He just said, well, I'm done, guys. After I lost Wisconsin's
fun.
election, I'm going to go back and see if my cars catch fire anymore. Or ask Tesla, and this is true, Tesla to give him a $1 trillion stake in the company. That deal, which he's also in the courts about a previous pay package dispute, if that goes through, he will be the first trillionaire on this planet. So if anything we can talk about is that we cannot let these moments slip our mind. It's so easy because of the news cycle to be like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, Doge,
forgot
that
about
was the
that.
thing. No, Doge is part of the reason why we are hobbling as a nation right now.
We have a little clip. Calvin, do we still have time for this? We have a clip from J.D. Vance, I believe on MSNBC, talking about the smooth workings of the Trump administration, firing a whole bunch of people and then going, oh, my God, we need those people back. Calvin, can we play that clip, please?
And specifically, when it comes to what's happening within the health sector, CBS did confirm on Saturday that the Trump administration went and rescinded some of the layoffs of hundreds of CDC scientists who were mistakenly laid off on Friday and then told Saturday that's not the case. But some of them were involved with the federal measles response. Some of them were involved with the response on Ebola. How does a mistake like this happen? Did the White House even talk to the CDC?
Take it, JD.
Chuck Schumer.
Well, so two responses to that, Margaret. First of all, I want to assure the American people that the frontline healthcare workers, the people who monitor measles, Ebola, and other infectious diseases, those people are still on the job, and we're trying very hard to figure out how to ensure those people get a paycheck, of course, because we want them to be happy and healthy. We want them to be able to do their jobs well.
Doesn't answer how we managed to fire all of these people and then a day later, whoops, oh my God, we need those people back.
At least he didn't say this is why people don't watch your show.
No. Well, but then, of course, he went on to blame the Democrats, which is ludicrous. It's just ludicrous. We're going to continue talking with our friend and colleague and travel companion, Todd Alba, on the other side. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are joined by our friend and colleague, Todd Alba is here. He joins us every other Tuesday to kick around all things in the news. Todd, we have Carmela from Milwaukee waiting on the line. Good morning, Carmela. What do you want to say? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, yeah, I don't get an opportunity to talk to Todd too often anymore, but I had a couple things, and one of them was J.D. Vance. He had just played the MSNBC thing where, and then of course he blames the Democrats. Maybe you guys covered this, but what did you think of the George Stephanopoulos thing, where he snapped back a little bit? And also, did you hear anything about the scuttlebutt with the Brewers giving shade to the Cubs, like with an L flag instead of a W? Yeah. I just heard it last night, and I didn't know it was a thing.
I got to go.
Thank you, Carmela. Appreciate that. Yes, actually, we played that clip of George Stephanopoulos yesterday. He talked to J.D. Vance on Sunday. And J.D. Vance was waffling and not answering the question and obfuscating.
And insulting.
And being insulting. And George Stephanopoulos essentially said, yeah, well, thanks. That's all the time we have. Goodbye. And he cut him off. It was a thing of beauty. That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done. And as far as the L goes.
Well, let's start with the Stephanopoulos thing. I'm sure you saw that, Todd, right?
I did.
Yeah. And we talked about it yesterday, and I felt like this is how you do it. The airwaves belong to the people, and when people are lying, you have the power, and he took it. And I have big respect for George Stephanopoulos. Now, I'm sorry, Todd, I interrupted you.
What do you think about that, Todd?
No. First of all, thank you, Carmela, for calling in. Maybe her schedule changed, but always great to hear from all of our listeners, right?
Yeah.
So thanks, Carmela. Always great to hear from you. On beautiful WAUK, now at 100.3 FM in downtown Milwaukee, in addition to 540 AM.
Nice plug.
Anyway.
Expert.
Yeah, I saw it. I heard you guys talk about it yesterday. I largely agree with you guys. I heard Matt Smith from WISN up front talk about this a little bit as well. I thought he had a good point, which is, as we all know, oftentimes we're quote unquote up against the clock. For those that listeners don't know, there are hard. In other words, the computer cuts you off because you have to go to break. Those morning shows are timed out specifically. So he had already been on for like 5 or so 6 minutes. So it might have been that Stephanopoulos was getting in his ear for the producer.
Wrap it up.
Go.
Yeah.
And that was it. So we don't know for sure. I think Matt Smith had a good point that we don't know whether Stephanopoulos did it just to be like, firm, or whether he was truly up against the clock. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just more of the Trump administration being small and trite and petty.
Well, and Meghan McCain chimed in on this on social media.
Oh, thank God, because I missed her.
I know, and was just aghast by the disrespect shown by George Stephanopoulos. And I thought, did you see Pam Bondi testify before Congress last week? But that didn't get you to comment on being disrespectful. That was fine.
Well,
right.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
Go on, Tom.
And you could tell that J.D. Vance with Stephanopoulos ended it. No. Like, he wanted the fight, right? He wanted the clip so they could put it out and go viral.
Yeah.
And I think Vance was baiting Stephanopoulos to show to his boss that, hey, I could do it too. And Stephanopoulos just, for whatever reason,
I'm not going to play.
Like, no, not going there.
Yeah, I'm not going to play.
I think whether it was an intentional or a hard break, I think but Meghan McCain is my proof that no matter what the reason was, they would take it as an insult and rude and whatnot because they have thin skin and don't understand how time works. So that's beyond the point. Yeah. As far as the Brewers L flag goes, it caused so much controversy that they poked fun at the Cubs because the Cubs fly the L flag when they lose and they fly the W flag when they win. It's something they've done for a while, and the Brewers had an L flag, and the Cubs fans lost their minds over this. So disrespectful. I'm sorry. Are you going to yell at your friends on Twitter who are threatening violence against the players because they beat the Cubs? Get off your high horse. They're living rent-free in your brains, Cub fans. I'm tired of it.
Then.
I'm not sure if Carmela was saying she didn't know what happened, but for those that don't know, and after the Brewers clinched the divisional series, they from the stands they got the L flag, as Greg said, and they took it out and held it up during the team photo. Yeah. And then on the Brewers Twitter site, they posted and they draped through animation an L flag over the Big Bean, whatever it is, in downtown Chicago. And Keith Olbermann even took to Twitter to call out the Brewers and say they were low class, act like you've been there before, and then talk radio, sports radio in Chicago went nuts over it. I mean, come on. I mean, our manager, our favorite son in Milwaukee, left for the cash to go to the Cubs. I think that the Brewers have the right in sports to hold up a flag. Like Greg said, I just don't. It's sports. It's that's what it is.
Not to mention the whole week they were complaining when they were winning. They were saying that the Brewers don't deserve it and that they were cheating. I mean, you want to be high. You want to be high class, then be high class. But don't crybaby and be like, I don't understand such little brother behavior. You're upset that you lost.
Oh, to get over yourselves. It's sports balls, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. Get a life. Todd Alba joins us every other Tuesday to kick all things around news related and some sports too. Thank you, Todd. Check him out this afternoon from 2 to 4 across the network. We will see you soon. News is coming up next. And then when we return, Will Westmoreland is going to join us. He is a farmer from Missouri. We're going to hear what he is hearing from his fellow farmers in that part of the country when we talk Trump tariffs. That is all on the way. Stay with us. You're listening to Matt and Air on Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.